Welcome back to the East Coast Experience. Today we have my very good friend, Jana. How you going, Jana?
I'm well, thank you for having me.
Thank you. So Jana was actually meant to be my first guest, but I got thrown in the deep end and I did Tony's podcast first. And actually, there's a funny story with that, because he was here and I was like 100% certain. I'm like, yeah, I've got to get him on the podcast, but I couldn't see it opening. And then you're like, do you want to come down to Byron and hang out? I'm like, yeah. Threw all my podcast equipment into the back seat.
Ulterior motive.
Yeah, I was like, I've got to make this happen. So we're there, and we're sitting on the beach, and we're just like having a drink. I'm like, hey, Tony, do you want to do a podcast? He's like, yeah, bro, let's do it on the beach. I'm like, we can't do it on the beach. So I was like, all right, I'm going to set it up in the hotel room. He's like, yeah, sweet, bro, let's do it. I'm like, all right, in the morning. He's like, yeah, in the morning. So I went back to my apartment. It was like 11 o'clock, because we'd been drinking and stuff like that. 11 o'clock, so I set up all the podcast stuff. And then I was like, woke up in the morning, I messaged him, I didn't get a response. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go for a walk. Went for a walk along the beach. And as I'm walking back, Tony just strolls out. And I'm like, hey.
It's an early bird.
Yeah, because I didn't even know he was going to get up.
Yeah.
And then he just strolls out. He's like, hey, bro. I'm like, hey. So you still want to do a podcast?
He's like, well, I can't say no now.
Yeah, and actually as well, so we went and got a coffee together, and he's just so casually like talking. I'm like, come on, we've got to do this podcast. And I forgot all about the checkout. So
yeah.
And then I went back to my room. He's like, and he went back. I'm like, oh, you ready? He's like, yeah, give me 5. Waiting in my room. And then he comes up, and we got it started. But like as we were going, I completely forgot all about the checkout.
Well, you also forgot about breakfast.
Yeah. So you guys are messaging, and his phone's just.
We're standing in the street. Where are they?
Yeah, bring that a bit closer to me now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're messaging, and then yeah, and anyway, it happened. But
and I'm the consolation prize now.
Yes.
Runner up.
Yeah. So what I wanted to do with this podcast is you have the most. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
I want
Thanks
to say
for
thank
having
you so much for. I would say that you're the first mentor. Well, you're probably the biggest mentor that I've had through SMP, and I can honestly say that East Coast Herring would not be here. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for you.
Oh wow, that's huge.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and I think
that means a lot.
I think too, I can say this on behalf of a lot of people, is that you help people relentlessly. There's still, I can imagine there's still heaps of students that still message you.
Yeah, and, every day.
And you do that, you don't get paid, it's just something you do out of the goodness of your heart. And yeah, I just want to say thank you, publicly.
Thank you. No, I know you're grateful, and vice versa. I think it goes around, comes around a lot of the time.
And I think that's an important thing too, is that like, we, like, on an artist's perspective, you help me out so much with that, but then we also get to bounce ideas, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's so important for like anyone who's starting out is to reach out to other people.
Yes, definitely. I encourage that a lot.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think you might get knocked back.
Or they might take a while to get back to you if they're busy.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I think it's important because. You know, I think back and I think maybe I wouldn't have stuck to it. You know, if we didn't talk and I didn't have other people to talk to about it.
Yeah. I think it's probably an easy industry to feel a little bit isolated.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of huge companies out there, and we all sort of start our own businesses, and it can be a little bit lonely and isolated. So in an industry like this, I've always said like community is really important for many reasons. Many reasons. Yeah.
And also another huge congrats with like pulling off that masterclass, and that got us all together, right?
Yeah.
And now like I've made 2, 3, 4 more friends, and we're all talking.
Oh, that's so nice. I feel like my biggest regret with that was just being so overwhelmed with organising and being. I felt like a cardboard cutout of myself by the time the masterclass claimed that I didn't get to really spend that time talking to people and connecting the way that I intended it, but I saw everyone else doing that, and to me, I'm just happy that everybody did.
I think we needed you with that. You were like the driving force.
I was like a headless chicken running around.
Yeah. But you did such a good job, like from like the experience that Tony and that would have had seeing Australia to, you know, bringing everyone together to how perfect the day turned out. I think stuff like that doesn't happen without one person being stressed out, and that was you.
Yeah, I think I have that overbearing sense of responsibility for some reason. I carry that, and I always take it all on. There's always one person, it seems to be me.
Yeah.
So, but it's what I do, and I enjoy it, and I seem to be able to make things happen and pull it off, and keep the schedule, and and Shannon too, absolutely. Like,
Shannon,
what he does is incredible. So, but yeah, I think we're both very proud of the fact that we pulled it off successfully. We managed to get plenty of artists together, maybe quite a few that would never have been in the same room previously.
100%.
You would never imagine it, and for us to see that,
that was the idea,
it is sad, but it's such a beautiful thing now that all of those sort of avenues are now open for more connections. And I think, like I've said, together we're stronger. It brings strength to our community. So I'm really pleased with how it went.
It was awesome, and also as well, I think that would never have happened, like as much like you guys did the organising, but that would never even have happened at all without you guys, because Tony first of all found Shan and then found your work, and it was just simply your hard work, Shannon's hard work, and how good your SMP looked. That's what brought his attention, and then now he's flying here, and now everyone gets the benefit from it, right?
It's been wonderful to connect with people like Tony, Chris, Alex and Jana. You can kind of get a vibe for someone even through, social media, just chat over Zoom or whatever. But when you get to meet them and, the experience you have with them just solidifies the sort of person you think they were, they're like family now. They're our family.
Hey?
Yeah.
Because that's what I said to him, like, you're exactly like your Instagram.
Yeah.
Like you don't really see
what
that.
You see is what you get.
See that, but I was sort of like, I don't know, maybe I was half expecting to be let down a little bit, because I was like, he's just such a nice guy. And I messaged him way back when I first started, and like he actually got back to me. Yeah. And understanding how busy he is.
Yeah. Like he still makes time for as many people as he possibly can.
And he's like, I did the free mentoring, which is exactly, it's so crazy. As I was thinking about today, I was thinking, just Jana and Tony are so alike in so many things. So like your story, which we're going to get into, of how you worked with somebody and then now you're doing it for yourself, and you've done free mentoring for like as long as I can remember, like years, right? And that's what Sony's done. He was working with someone, now he's working for himself, and he does free mentoring, and he's just relentlessly trying to improve on his SMP work. And it's crazy, like how good you are and how good he is, but you both are still like, nah.
It's not good enough. It's never good enough.
It's so crazy because like I remember this one comment, I'll never forget it. You posted this work, and I'm like, I quit. I was like, once I seen it, I was like, fuck this. And then I think you messaged me and you're like, I wasn't happy with today's treatment. I'm like, fuck you.
It's so true though. Like I think when you're that critical, perhaps having that very strong eye for all the tiny little details, and knowing that there's something you could have improved, it's gonna always just grate at you just a little bit, and you're gonna think, how am I gonna fix that next time? Or so I think with every treatment there's always some kind of hurdle to get over, or something that comes up that you need to use your skill set to sort of, I guess, get around.
It's like a blessing and a curse, right? It's like the reason you're so good is because you're so critical. Well, I'm so good, but well, you are. I can say that. Like you obviously don't.
I know what you're saying. It is. It's like you drive yourself crazy because you're just chasing that unattainable perfection, and you're always critical of your own work. And I think that produces quality.
Yeah, definitely.
Is to always step back and reassess, what could I do? Where can I improve? Yeah. Where can I go from here?
Yeah. Bring your mic. So going back to when Jana started, so what were you doing when you stumbled across SMP, and how did you stumble across SMP?
I believe I was still working in real estate at the time.
Real estate?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So I know like a little bit of the story and I'm asking the question, but I don't know all of it.
I've done so many things.
Yeah. So were you a real estate agent or you were like...
I was working I was property managing.
Oh, property managing.
Yeah, that old
cool.
chestnut. My brother called me, he lives in WA, and he said, I'm coming over, I've got an appointment, can I come stay with you? I said, yeah, sure, just thinking it's, I don't know, dentist or something.
Yeah.
The morning of his appointment, he told me what he was doing, and I knew he'd lost some hair, but I've never really seen him without a hat for a while, so... Yeah. He showed me, I was like, oh yeah, you're definitely going bald. But we had an argument because I've never heard of tattooing your head or scalp micropigmentation. No one had back then. It's probably going on 5 years ago now. And
people still haven't heard of it.
No, that's right. They haven't. We think everyone knows, but they don't.
Because it's so big for us, but to everyone else,
it's like, still a small world.
Oh, yeah.
So, but anyway, we had a big fight about it because I said, that's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I said, that's just, I don't even know why you're doing that. You're going to look like an idiot, basically. No, he left and I was just like, I can't. I think I rang Lee. I said, you won't believe what Michael's doing. It's so bad. Anyway, he came back and I was like, that's actually pretty good. I think it might have been maybe a third session or a touch-up or something he came back for. And I said, I want to come, and can I come? I want to see it. I need to see it because I was in real... I had
this genuine interest.
I did, yeah. Because... Like I said, I was in real estate at the time, but I just spent 2 years in the fine arts down in Newcastle.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit more about that? What's the fine arts?
So I did my diploma there.
So you basically study art?
Yeah, I studied art. So, and my specialty, or what I like best, is probably like your realism. So you'll find details. I love oil painting, drawing. Got into printmaking a little bit. Yeah. But for me, I notice every tiny little detail, and when I paint something like in nature, I might even take my paintbrush down to one bristle and just paint the little hair on, because they're the things I notice. And
so the things that you're painting, so you're doing painting, drawing, just like anything that's realistic, like
so life drawing with models, and it was a whole range of different mediums and different styles and
what was your pursuit there? Were you wanting to do that full time? No. Just an interest, just a hobby, just sort of like...
my grandmother was she was an amazing artist, and she passed away, and I thought about it. I thought, our entire family is so talented, but nobody's taken art on for the family. No, because it just doesn't pay, right? And I had an opportunity at that stage where I had some time. I didn't have to, I worked part-time, so I had the time and I had the funds and means to do it, so I just applied for art school thinking, but they won't accept me.
And how long each week were you in art school?
How long? I think it was like 3 or 4 days a week for 2 years.
Wow, so for 3 or 4 days a week you're literally learning artistic
just immersed in art. Like
it
was a really good time.
That is actually really cool.
Yeah, just hanging out with other artists, and it was pretty good.
Everything's coming together now. We understand why Jana does such good SME.
I definitely developed quite a few skills there, but I did it as a bucket list thing, and I did it for the family because, to me, art is still important in this world, even if it doesn't bring you an income. We need to protect it. For me, I thought if I pass on even to, say, my grandkids or a niece or a nephew, and they said, my aunt or my grandma was an artist, it's in the family, and it inspires them to carry it on. That's what was important to me.
Do you think it's an inherent thing like that? Do you think it's sort of in you?
I feel it is.
You can pick it up?
I feel there's a lot of people in my family on both sides that have certain artistic skills.
Is it all the same? Is it all drawing, or is it...
No, some of it's musical. But I would say that others, I can see that they definitely have that skill. Even my mum, she didn't really do a lot of art, but she can paint, she can draw.
Sort of that creative mind, right?
Just having these little skills, I think is just sort of an inherent thing in the family. So yeah, I definitely developed a lot of really fine hand skills. Just the way that I like to do art. A good eye for art. I think the biggest thing from art school I took away is I learned how to see.
Yes.
And that is so hard to explain to people, but...
You've explained it to me, I reckon, 5 times I've written in my notes. And
knowing how to see.
And what I'd say is, it's funny because Tony touches on it too.
He does. When he explains it, I'm like, that's it. That's what I'm trying to explain.
And when you first said it to me, I wrote it in my notes, and I'm like, this makes no sense. and then over time, though, this is what I'd say to like anyone learning anything as well, like within SMP, is that it's like Tony goes, you train your eyes, but it's to the truth, and like you can, when you talk about the white space, I'm like, what do you mean? But when you look at it and you look at it and you look at it and you spend hours upon hours, it really starts to make sense. Yeah,
all the pieces start to fit together, and I think some people are naturally gifted in the way that they can see everything the way it needs to be seen, and other people really need to, it's like a muscle, they need to grow it, they need to develop it, they need to be taught how to do that. And that's something I want to explore, is working out how I can help people to get there a bit quicker.
Because I think back to that when I started too, because I was like, why did this stick? Like, and when I'm training someone, I'm like, how do I know if he's got it? Like, one of the biggest things I look for is care and wanting to improve. Those two things, if you've got them, whether you have something or don't, you'll 100% do well. But I'm like, why did SMP stick? Like, I've done so many things. And I'm like, what? And
we know why. It's a drug.
It is a drug. It is, but it's like, but why was this my drug? And I guess that only comes from trying things. When you try things, you sort of, So you're at art school, and then you did the real estate, and then so you have a look at this third session.
So I had a look, and I went into Hairline Solutions with my brother, and Aaron was doing the treatment, and I was just watching Aaron work, and I could just totally connect with the way that the gun needed to be held at a certain angle to get into the skin.
Were you geeking out like on an artist's perspective? You're like,
it's kind of like all the cogs were turning. You know that meme with all like the math equations. I'm like,
you're like Einstein.
I'm like, I knew this, but I felt like I had this weird connection with it, and I went home and I just went, nah, that's just weird. Like, I don't want to tattoo guys' heads.
It is weird, isn't it?
And I was like,
it still feels a bit weird.
It is, just what a strange thing to do. So I guess I kind of shelved it, but every now and then I kind of think about it. But I just thought, no, it's just too out there. It's just too strange. And then Aaron decided to start training because there was a need for that. And
so at this point
there was no training. There was nothing.
Right.
No. I was just interested. Just from an artist perspective.
So like, if you actually wanted to do it, you would have been like, hey, would you ever train someone in this? Is that or did you look for any schools?
No, I didn't even decide that I wanted to do it there and then. I
wonder how many people were actually offering training back then.
No one, I don't believe. No.
Oh, because I don't think Caitlin would have been doing it then.
I'm not sure.
Because I know she told me.
Actually, no. I think Foley Sim might have been doing it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I remember coming across them.
I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think I watched her on David Santiago's podcast, and I think she was saying she doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah, I think they do some, but she's a pretty strong advocate for pushing the whole apprenticeship style training, which I think is great, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean, they're all the way in WA anyway, so but when Aaron advertised his training, my brother immediately, like, I don't know if he tagged me or sent it to me, but he said to me, if anyone's going to be good at this, it's going to be you.
So he's right.
So I owe him a case of beer, apparently.
You definitely do.
Maybe a bit more than that. So he was the one that kind of, I guess, gave me the nudge. And I did have to think about it for a while. I still was just like, And then I felt like it was one of those deal or no deal moments where, you pick the briefcase, you don't pick the briefcase. I'm like, do I just put this money out? And I thought I didn't have a lot of spare cash at the time. Yeah, I didn't really have the money at the time, but scraped it together. Scraped it together, and I thought, you know what, I will never know if I don't try this, and if I don't try it, I'll always be wondering what would have been of it. So,
God, can you imagine if the Australia SMP didn't have Jana, you didn't take that?
I don't know.
It'd be a different game, I reckon.
Might be. I feel like things fall into place for a reason.
Yeah, they do. It doesn't feel like that sometimes, but sometimes it really does. You know. So you started. So you signed up. Mm-hmm. How's Jana? I can't imagine you as like a beginner. Did you just like pull out this like masterpiece on your like first day, or?
Yeah, like straight away. I didn't even need any training.
Yeah, see you later.
No, I definitely took to it quite easily, and I think that's due to having recently been in that kind of learning environment, that dexterous.
Was there any struggles that sort of stand out in your mind as you were starting?
You know, I actually wasn't nervous.
Yeah, right.
Like, I think after the first dot, I was like, "Yep, I've got this," and I.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, I felt like I could do it.
Yeah.
So, I think one of the biggest struggles was a few times there. I thought, you know how long it takes when you're starting?
Yeah,
it's like
so long.
I was getting a little bit anxious about the fact that this takes so long and I don't know if I'm ever going to finish it.
Yeah.
So I remember those feelings, and I do remember, you know, when I started working more full time, driving to work some mornings just going, oh, this is such a big responsibility, and just like kind of crapping myself every day.
Were you worried more because like you were doing a full-time job and trying to do the SMP on the side? Is that what you meant?
No, I was just more worried about the responsibility I held for the people that were in my chair.
Crazy?
Yeah.
And I think that's such a good point there, is that you weren't worried about doing the treatment, but you were worried about the responsibility of it turning out good and that client. Yeah,
because I could see how much this could actually ruin someone's life if you do it wrong.
Yes.
It's a lot of responsibility, and
oh my God.
I definitely had some anxious moments in the car on the way in, but you know, once you get started, and
you're driving up from like Kingscliff. Point. What's that drive like?
In the traffic, 40 minutes an hour, and then when the border shut, it could be like 2 or 3 hours.
That's
hell.
A nightmare.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're a trainee, starting out, and then so you did your first model through training. How did that one go?
Yeah, really good. I think I did 2 sessions on him, and then he was happy as I didn't see him for ages, and a fairly light treatment because he's a very light skinned guy, and I think I've done a touch-up or 2 since then, and I remember looking at it going, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah,
so pretty happy with it.
So when did you do the touch-up?
I think the last one I did might have been like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Do you like doing that, like on your old work? Like when you're like,
I do, yeah.
It's weird because it's sort of like, I'm going to make this look so much better. Like when you've improved.
Or when I think, it's going to look so bad when it comes back, I'm going to have to like apologise. Oh, it's okay, I was just learning. But it comes back and it's quite even and it's settled nicely. I'm like, this is actually a pleasure to work over. Yeah. So, because some of the stuff you get, that comes through, it's just...
I know, right?
Yeah.
I think I think we will delve into that a bit later. But so you've done the model, you've done a couple of treatments, and how do you transition? Because your next step from there was working for Helen. So how did that transition happen?
So I was still working in the real estate, and I was actually doing some beauty stuff with some lashes as well, and the funny thing is, because I guess lashes are a dexterous thing, I actually started to build myself a name in that industry as well. And that kind of blew up at the same time. And I was just like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? I think I had like a contract to do like a TV show, like one of the characters in the TV show. I did her lashes for that. Yeah.
So you're getting like some
famous it was mildly, but it was I had a good clientele and I was booked out completely. Raised my price, booked out. I was like, oh man, like which way do I go here? So it was like 3 different directions pulling at me, and at the same time, my real estate wanted to promote me as well. So I was just like, whoa. I was like, this is crazy all at once. I don't know which way to go. So I had to make a big decision there. And Aaron messaged me or called me, I can't remember, but he basically said, I want you to come work with me.
Wow, so you're in high demand at this point.
Yeah, so everything was going really well.
What made you choose SMP?
I think because I knew that I was going to be good at it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And I didn't want to be doing fiddly lashes for as much as I enjoyed.
Much more satisfaction. I've never done any eyelashes, honestly, but
yeah, as much as I enjoyed where I was going with that, I think I would have ended up with a broken back.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard work when you're doing it all day. So, I just made that choice. For me, it was the perfect combination of a career and art.
Yes, yeah.
I just couldn't believe it. Like, I'm actually going to use my art skills in my career. I never imagined that could happen. So, it was pretty exciting.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I also feel like as well, it's good to have a career that, like, you've always got that continuum progression as well. Yeah,
that's really important as well, is knowing that you haven't hit your ceiling, because then your soul starts to die, you know.
I think so. I think that's such an important thing. And like, I remember Tony, I think he said in his training class, he was like, after 5 years, he's like, then my work started looking really good, and I was like, that's so cool to hear, because like now you know that, like, if I keep pushing, there's going to be another level. And I think those levels, they're exciting, and they help keep you going through that little roller coaster that we both always go through with SMP.
Yeah, I think there's been a couple of times where Shannon and I have both kind of leveled up together and just gone, did that just happen? Like, because
it's surreal, isn't it?
Sometimes you don't know where you're going to go from here. It's like, is there anything beyond this? Can this improve? Is this going to get better? And then when it kind of does, it's like, it's so exciting, and you're like, well, where's the next little jump? You know?
You also like we always say, you look for that like hit.
Yeah.
That, like, you know, that real good skin.
That dopamine you get from producing such beautiful
awesome
work,
treatment.
and then having a happy client, all combined in one little neat package.
It happens every now and then, and it does feel fantastic. So you started out your SMP journey, and you're working for someone now. I guess trying to think of who would be watching this. So, you know, it'd probably be some starters, maybe some current SMP artists, but I think a good thing for us to explore is, like, so I started out obviously solopreneur, and you've started out working under someone. What do you think the pros are and cons, or what would you like if someone's starting out and because I actually looked to go work for someone. I was like,
but there wasn't anyone.
No, well, no one would take me.
Oh.
Actually, it's funny. I went through my messages. I messaged a few places and called a few places, and they probably weren't busy enough to take anyone on.
Yeah.
But I was just so stuck in my own business. I was like, I'm not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought that might be a good place. And we actually know a few people who are doing that change right now. They're going from working for someone to now working for themselves. Like, I have my opinions and views. Like, if I ever employed someone, I'm not busy enough yet. I have had maybe like 1 or 2 points where I'm like, wow, it would be nice to have someone. And I've thought how I would do that. But so if someone's like, they come out of training and they're looking at different avenues, what would you say are some things to look out for, like, working for someone? Because actually there probably is a Jana out there who is very good out of training. And that's what I'm thinking, like, if someone's really good out of training, I'd be like, hey, look, you can do your own thing, but, you know, we would like to have you here as well.
Yeah, I think hopefully the ones that, you know, show that kind of promise do get snapped up by someone, because it is a really good start for your career. I guess the pros are definitely that you've got work provided for you. Obviously, you know,
because it's hard.
It is. It's
and it's not. I shout to anyone who's doing it, like, and making it on their own. And obviously that's me, but I still struggle. Like, it's still tough. It's not. There's days where you think, when am I going to be able to eat next? And then it's like, oh, I got all this work. This is so great. Yeah,
that roller coaster again. No, it's not. And for anyone, you know, like myself or even Shannon, slightly introverted and more focused on the craft than being a salesperson or, wanting to spend all that time and effort on business. We're spending our time and effort on being a good artist and producing beautiful work.
Yeah.
So that's where having work coming into you and allowing you that time and effort, space to actually just be good at what you do is definitely a huge kickstart. I definitely think you just got to, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
A couple of things that I'll kick off with. I would say if you are going to work for someone, what I would say is have your own Instagram as well as their work Instagram. Because what I would say is if I'm employing someone, I'd be able to post their work on my work page, but they can also have their own page.
Yeah.
And this is sort of like Caitlin does this awesome. She has really good client retention, and I've looked at her business so many times because she's a huge inspiration as well. Like she's got I think she's got 3 different studios, and they're all very happy, and they all got their own Instagrams. I don't know how that works out, but when I was going to employ Toby, my thoughts, what I said to him was, look, you can have your own Instagram. It's got to say East Coast Herring, but if we ever part ways, you can keep those photos.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah, because that's your art, that's your work.
Yeah, that's right.
That's your portfolio.
And that's something Tony talks about too. Is like the art itself. As much as and he has a good setup as well with his employees. Everyone, they seem really happy, right?
Yeah,
they're just like a big family, and they all got their own Instagrams. And I think that, and it's not the reason I talk about the Instagram is because when you go out and you're not going to work for them forever.
No,
maybe you do.
Well, maybe not.
Yeah.
But I guess the other thing that I found was that if you say, like when I went to WA and did some work over there, I realised that how can I advertise myself?
Yeah.
I don't really have my own way to do this.
Yeah.
So I didn't have my own business to do that.
Yeah.
So, and that kind of stumped me a little bit, and it made me realise that I kind of shot myself in the foot there because I'm not able to really do that
do you think
effectively.
Do you think that's a little bit of comfort though as well? Like, because when you've got work coming in and you just sort of get into like a comfortable zone.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely scoured around for a little bit of my own work here and there, but and that was that was fine. But I guess I just didn't really consider that down the track. And I think I wanted to advertise it through the business, but it didn't really work out that way. And then so I just had to quickly make I didn't have a Facebook page, so I had to quickly make a Facebook page.
When I was there,
and then I probably already had it, but I had to make the Facebook page because I don't really do Facebook, and that's the only way you can advertise, right?
Yeah.
So it was kind of very last minute for me because I realised I can't even get an ad out there.
Yeah.
So it was probably running too fine to when I was actually leaving to go, but I did manage to pull it off.
Yeah.
It was just really stressful, and I kind of realised I should have probably set myself up, protected myself a little bit better maybe from the start with that, just so that I had that ability to do that. I'm not saying that I wasn't allowed to, but it just something that didn't work out.
That's such an awesome lesson to anyone watching. If you're a talent, you get snapped up. First of all, I'm jealous because I never got that. But I think it is an awesome start because it's like you get to. What I'd say is the first thing, like we've just touched on, is that have your own Instagram and obviously understand that their business they do own your work, but having that conversation where you can still post the work so that you have a portfolio when you leave. I would say build that up. Make sure that and also as well, you can always ask questions and learn as you're going. To pay attention to absolutely anything and be a sponge, and you really. It's not like you go there with the plan to leave and become a competitor or anything like that. No. But it is natural progression with things.
Oh yeah, I think that's the case, and I would hope that down the track when we start to train ourselves, that anyone that we train will take what we teach them, make it better, go run with it, go do bigger and better things. That's natural progression, and that's the way of the world, and that's the way it should be. And that's for the better of the whole industry, and that to me is successful.
Yeah, and that's growth, isn't it? Right.
Yeah.
And also as well, what I think with that is that their growth grows you. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if I train somebody and then he reaches a new target audience that I'm never going to reach. Now that makes us both busier because we're in an industry that no one knows about.
Yeah.
So the more people shouting it from the rooftop, I personally think the better. But yeah, I think that's a good lesson for someone who's looking to go out on their own, who's looking to be employed.
I guess there's probably not a lot of opportunities, really, to be
not
fair.
too many of them.
Not yet. So I guess those opportunities will be few and far between.
For sure.
But yeah, it's like anything. You've just really got to consider, you know, what that means for you, and will you be happy, you know, having those parameters? Will you be happy in that setting?
It's definitely a head start too. I definitely think it's a head start. You know, even though I'm talking to us at the moment, she's going out on her own, and although it's still the struggles, and obviously like yourself, you've gone out on your own now, and you're seeing there is a lot of struggle. There's a lot of shit with it, right?
Yeah.
But I still think you, in comparison to me, fresh out of SMP school, you're like legs ahead.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm lucky in the fact that I do get referrals and people have heard of my work, and it still comes in, you know. Yeah, it does keep me going.
Yeah.
So.
Or when I get one of them, I'm like this is like the greatest thing ever, because marketing's hard.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say to people, like, and you know, also as well, it'd be worth if you are coming out of training and you are quite good and you don't have any money for marketing. You know, you don't have quite any sales experience, and you don't have anything to put into the business. I would go and look for that. I think I would, you know, and it's like maybe see what you can offer an artist. Like, I've had this one guy hit me up and he goes, "Hey bro, you know, I'd love to learn SMP. I'll come in and I'll make the coffees." Yeah. I don't need coffees being made. You know what I mean? Like you know, if you're, I don't know, good with the camera, or like shit, or like I was offering people, I'm like, "Hey, I'll come work for free." Like, if you don't have, because start going out on your own, you really do need money, or you need to make an investment, and it costs a lot. Yeah, I think
that's a really tough thing that comes along with the training and advertising trainings. It's kind of said that you can make, you know, $2,500-5,000 a week so easy. All you need is 1 or 2 clients a week, and you're laughing all the way to the bank. It's not the case. You know, when you're new, you're green. I would say unless you've got somewhere to go to work, great business skills, or you've got a huge network of people around you, or you've got a lot of money behind you to throw at marketing and getting someone else to start your business, I think most people struggle because that's like probably more than 50% of it at the beginning is 100%. All of that stuff. You can be the best artist in the world, but if no one knows who you are and no one's seen your work, it doesn't matter to anybody. So
and
it's
what
tough.
I'm saying is, going back to when we first started talking, we were talking about reaching out to people, and I think that's important. And I always go back to this, and I always say, like, I don't know if I'd still be doing it if it wasn't for you and Shan, because I didn't have anyone to share that experience and struggle with. Like, I talked to, my sister was very helpful because she was a tattoo artist and tattoo apprenticeship, but it's a completely different struggle. You know, the struggle, the price of entry to do SMP is a lot, and to make good money in this industry is very, 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 very difficult. Now, I'm not saying that it's harder than another industry or comparing it in any way, shape or form.
It's like any business, really.
Right, it's different, but it's its own obstacles. It has its own obstacles and its own struggles, and the biggest one, and this is the number one hardest thing, is marketing. And the reason why marketing is so hard is because when I go through my marketing with Levi, is it's like we are targeting people who don't know what it is. You know, if you're a barber and you're targeting men's haircuts, everyone knows what a haircut is. Yeah. You're women's shoes, everyone knows what that is. Tattoos, everyone knows what that is. We're like, he's seeing that for the first time. Yeah. Now I'm trying to convince him to get it. Yeah. Yeah. I get a lot of fuck off. Yeah. You know?
All the nasty comments and jokes
heaps.
Yeah, the trolls.
That's I think that's such a hard part, and if you can soften that blow, and I think work with someone, definitely reach out. You know, everybody, we all have those struggles, and like that's what having Tony on was so crazy. It's like he had everything we're talking about. He had the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You can look at someone like that and just think, nah, it's easy for him.
Yeah, well, I feel like sometimes people say that about myself as well. Oh, you've had it easy. Oh, you've got no idea. Like,
100%.
honestly, we've all got our own struggles. We've all had to work freaking hard, and I know I've worked my absolute arse off. You know, to be able to produce the work that I'm satisfied with. I wouldn't sleep at night if I didn't feel like I could do this right. I wouldn't be doing it. I'd go home and pick up some lashes.
Yeah, that sleeplessness is tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you don't know how it's going to settle. You're like, oh, how's that going to settle? Or could I have done better today? Yeah, maybe I could have done better. Is the client looking at what's he seeing? Like,
well, am I even good at this?
Yes.
Should I even be doing this?
Things. Should I be doing this? And
I'll tell you what, Shannon and I still both have our days where we feel that.
Yeah, you guys give me inspiration. I'm like, if you're thinking that there, I'm sweet.
Yeah, I think it's just in our nature, isn't it? You know, that perfectionism, that high expectation. Yeah. Now,
with your treatments that you do, now we don't have a name for your technique, but I'd like to try my very best to delve into that. Like when you start, like, because when people ask me, like, I get these like funny questions, like, oh, who's the best artist in Australia? And I'm like, Jana. But
depends on what you want.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And this is where I'd like to elaborate on that. So the reason that I say you is because it's partly because, you know, no one can really do what you do, and what you do is different. Like with a lot of us look sort of similar, and we do have our own styles, but yours is like the most perfect sort of way that you could do SMP, if that makes sense. It's the most natural sort of
thank you. Like, you're not the first person that said that. I've had another person say, as soon as I see a photo of your work, I know it's yours. Like, you've got this really distinct style. I'm like, do I?
Yeah.
Like, I don't really see it.
There's only one other person that we found is that Raphael.
Raphael,
and he's in Mexico.
He's awesome. I think he's Brazilian.
But yeah, I think I don't know if you found him or I found him, but we sent it. I'm like, oh my god, it's like your style. And so when you started, is that how you just started doing SMP?
I think so. I think because I'm looking for consistency, evenness. When people bunch their dots up and spread them out, I see that straight away, and my brain's going, a little spasm.
Do you think that's your art sort of background?
And I remember getting so much enjoyment out of blending it into the hairline, because it's like putting this puzzle together. And I don't think that's something we were taught in training, but I could see, like, some people have quite a hard edge. It's like quite a line, and you just butt up to that. And other people have this sort of tessellating kind of fade out. And I love just picking individually where those follicles were, rather than just mindlessly stabbing away from a distance. Really considering each dot and thinking about it like you're putting a puzzle together. Like, to me, that was just so satisfying. And then when you step back and look at it, and you've got this blend from the hair into the SMP, and you can't see where it starts and where it stops, that to me, I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to achieve. And
what I'll say for everyone is, because I have just asked Jana millions of questions about this, what you say is that when you start, is that you start with their hair follicle pattern, and you try and directly replicate their hair follicle pattern.
Most of the time. So, you know, when you get some people, and maybe they haven't had hair loss for long enough where the indentation of their follicles hasn't flattened out, or for whatever reason they've just kept those little divots. I love that. I'm like, it's like connect the dots. I'll just feel those, like, I can just see the pattern.
You're such a geek. I love that.
I know. I can just see the pattern. I'm like, I'm just going to do that pattern. And it ties into the hair beautifully, and it fades out the hairline so nicely.
What I'd say, if you're going to try it, if anyone's going to try this, and it is, patience is key. It's slow and steady. Very slow, and I've done it. And I'm going to continue to try and do it, because I think that some heads need that. I look at some heads and I think, this is not, if I'm bunching and touching my dots and doing the light and dark, which by the way, Tony's technique's amazing. Like, with that healed that suits that guy's head.
Yeah, incredible.
But there is some for here in Australia actually as well. I think your style is very good. And some heads need that. But that's what I'd say is it is a lot. You'll be very patient because I think some people get like I myself I like to move a little bit quicker and that's how I get into a sort of a flow state. But I have done your style and what I do too sometimes is and this is another little gem that I'll tell everyone is take beats from every artist. Like if you like someone's work like yourself, ask Jana a question and figure out why she does something and then implement it into yours. Because like I will almost always when I'm looking at the hair folds, I'm trying to replicate that and do exactly what you said, because you told me that. And then maybe do I go a bit more dense on the top? Definitely. But on the
I do that
sides,
sometimes. Yeah.
And on the sides, I'm trying to do that because it just looks so nice.
Yeah, just matches.
It's like this.
Yeah, it is. It's like dovetailing into the hair.
Yeah. I think we're getting there. I think we're getting there to a Jana masterclass, maybe.
Maybe. I've written a whole lot of stuff down and it just even went over my own head, so I've got to sort of simplify it a little bit because there's also there's a bit of psychology in there as well in terms of the way we see in our left brain and our right brain and what they tell us. And maybe some people are more dominantly right than left and vice versa, and there's just so many ways that you can actually bypass some of those things that your brain does that can help you to see better. So,
and everyone learns differently too.
Yeah.
This is something I learned
very much so.
The last guy is that he liked tattooing left to right with everything. Like that was the only point where he could sort of get his dots right. So I had to angle the whole session around him doing that, and then trying to get him to work the other way slower and also it's like how do people learn it? Like me, I'm a bit dyslexic, right? I can't. If you give me something to read, all the words get jumbled up. Some people are a bit more hands-on, so they got to get on the tools straight away.
Some people like to watch a video or observe.
That's what I got asked for. Is, hey, do you have a video of this? I'm like, oh no, I don't. Better go make a video of
That's something Tony seems to be doing really well. He's working on covering all those bases. So many different medias and so many different ways to, convey that information. I think that's really admirable. He's doing a great job with that.
He definitely is. And even him with his training and everything, he's just trying to do better. He's just trying to do better.
Yeah,
he's
always pushing.
Oh man,
he's crazy.
Yeah, he's a wild. But also as well, I don't know about you, but from meeting them, it's listening to how they live in Italy and poverty and all that sort of stuff, and how grateful they were for Australia.
They loved everything about Australia.
Yeah. Didn't it just make you appreciate? I was like, wow, I'm gonna appreciate this stuff more.
No, I definitely saw our area through their eyes, and it was really cool.
It was. Hey.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Even going surfing, even now, it's so surreal.
That was the best.
That was so good.
You couldn't have had a bigger smile on Tony's face and Chris's face.
Yeah, so just to explain that as well, it's we after the masters class we went down to Byron. And Jana's partner brought down a surfboard, and we took Chris, Alex, and Tony all out on the surfboard, and I don't know, they probably wouldn't have seen surf like that before or surfing.
I think there's some in Italy. It's not as good, but
I think what I spoke to Tony to have a Amalfi Coast. I've been there before. It's literally rocks and flat water. Yeah. So
he sent me a video of some surf the other day from Italy. It's passable.
It's
so
passable.
They want to keep going. They want to take it up, which is really nice.
That's awesome.
But it's just pure joy on their faces, and
all of them stood up.
And we're all yahooing and shouting, and it wasn't just us; it was other people in public looking over, and they're just that's sick.
They could see it,
and it's their first time, and how exciting that is. Yeah,
it is exciting. Hey, it's such a good thing that you did that. You did an awesome job. Yeah. So what would you say to someone who wants to go out and start SMP?
If you want to start SMP,
so they're out there. Someone who's probably maybe they've seen my training ad. No.
Is this a sales pitch?
No, but someone who's about to go. I'm coming up to 2 years. How many years have you been?
I was thinking about that on the way here, I think I'm over 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy that you do like an apprenticeship? Sometimes it's 4 years.
Yeah.
After 3 years, you still have so much passion for it. Like you, like we still talk about it like we're first day.
Yeah.
I think actually the excitement's probably grown.
Yeah.
I'd say
So much is changing and evolving, and there's so much to get across.
Yeah.
And
so someone who's maybe interested, or maybe even someone who's done a course and they're sort of just like, what the fuck? Like that's what we all think when we finish our course. We just sit there and
so
go,
that's a totally different thing.
Yeah,
I think,
let's talk about
that. I think well, if you haven't done a course, I think maybe shadow someone or go have a look.
Good point.
Have a think about your hand skills. Maybe how are your eyes?
Yeah.
How's your patience?
Yeah.
What's your network like? Have you got business skills? Are you able to market?
Yes.
Do you have someone you can work with or work for? Do you have somewhere you can work?
Yes.
Do you have your skin penetration certificate, the personal appearances? There's quite a lot to consider. It's not just doing a 3-4 day course and hey, I'm an SMP artist. There's so much more to it than you would think. So I think just maybe having a really good think about all of those things. And if you really love SMP and you're passionate about it and you think you can practice for hours on end and have that patience for that and tolerance for, starting out at the bottom and working your way up, I think you're the right person. If you care about people, that's probably one of the most important things, is having a bit of empathy for guys who, some of them will tell you how they feel, others won't tell you anything, but it's a very sensitive topic. So you need to be caring and empathetic to your clients. So there's all those things.
A lot to think about.
There's a lot, I would just consider all of that. In terms of someone who's done a course and they're not happy,
well, they're just sort of like thinking like, what's the next step?
What's the next step?
Yeah.
Depends on where they're at.
Yeah,
because
it does, doesn't it? Something I want to ask as well I'm adding a question to my question, but I remember one time we were talking and we were talking about like how your artistic background helped with SMB, and I remember you were telling me about like you're just trying to do some drawing and stuff like that. Yeah. And I actually did that. My drawings aren't great, but
hand skills.
I definitely think it helps. I can't define exactly how, but I think I think it all correlates.
Yes.
Something I've been dabbling in is just tattooing on some face skin. I don't think I'll ever do a tattoo, but like I've been asking Hayley different tips and stuff like that. But there's definitely a direct correlation with like fine line work and SMP, and it's all the same. It's all keeping something steady and having a steady hand and concentrating on one area for a long period of time. Yeah,
working maybe like things like realism or the fine details, because you're having to put a lot of patience into a small amount of things. That's a big thing. And I think about what I did in art school, and I try to work out what exactly it was that helped. And you're right in saying sometimes you can't exactly put your finger on it, but you know that it's all helped you immensely.
It does. It does work together.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how, but actually, no. Something you said. You said it's about just looking at it looking at different shades and looking at different angles, and then I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But then I looked at like my SMP work, sort of like how I watched a few YouTube videos and drawing and stuff like that, and then I looked at my SMP work, and then I did start looking at it from different angles. Yeah,
I think with drawing, your brain takes over, and that's where you've got to navigate that. So when you learn to draw something, you're not looking at it going, I'm drawing a face. You have to look at the distance between the features, focus on that.
Up, like here, and then back.
The details and the bigger picture all at once. And there's a lot you could say about that.
So much. I keep thinking of little hints, tips that you've given me, and I just want to give that to everyone else. Another one that you gave me was to looking at the SMP in different lights, but looking at it, because you're looking at it so close for so long, and if you're an SMP artist, what I would say is stand back, look at the whole picture of it. This is something that you taught me, and then get them up into into a different light.
Well, get them up sit them on a stool, walk around it and have a look.
Yes.
And that's what I used to do a lot when I was newer at it, and I'd take my pencil and I would mark spots that stood out to me, little circles or little marks into the floors or the areas that needed more work that I could see when the client was sitting up, and then I'd lay them back down because it looks different. For me now, I don't need to do that so much, but I've learned more how to see even more since then. So it's a good way to try to get more evenness and consistency.
Yeah, because if you mark it and then they come back, and then you can zone back into those areas. Yeah. Because what I noticed when I first did that, I didn't mark it, and they laid back down. I'm like, oh, I can't see.
Where did it go?
Yeah, where did it all go? Because it disappears.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll like get them, they'll be standing up and I say we're done. I'm like, all right, get back down here. You know, like there's a dot there or there's something there, or it's like, because that's more important for it to look good as they're walking around. If it just looks good here, not everybody's looking like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, and that's something you taught me fairly early on, and it's really stuck. I try and do it a lot, 9 times out of 10.
That's good.
Definitely, yeah. So with the drawing, that's probably a point. If someone's not looking to spend that $6,500 yet, they're just sort of maybe dabbling a little bit of drawing. And what I did as well was, is it called stippling?
Yeah, stippling or pointillism.
Yeah. I think it's almost exactly the same.
If you grab yourself an art liner pen, you know, the ones with a little stubby end on them and sort of felty but not, to get a perfect dot with those, they've got to be 90-degree angles. So you could fill a page with those, and you could practice and see how even you can get those. See if you can get an even tone across the page. See if you're bunching up and spreading out.
We'll try and make it look like something.
Yeah, or even do a picture. Or can you make every single dot look the same tone? Is some of those dots kind of fatter and some of them kind of, you know, less saturated? So they're things that you can do definitely just to practice and try it out. It's a similar sort of idea to when you
and it's a good idea too, because $6,500 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like as much as like that's why when I'm like talking to someone who wants to try do S&P, it's like it must be like an interrogation to them. Like, I'm so sorry, people, but like I'm just like
you'll make sure it's the right fit.
I'm like question. But yeah, that's one thing is you touch as well. Try and get a shadow session. If you know someone, if you can, you know, offer someone a little bit of money just to pop in and have a look. Yeah. And then, you know, a bit of drawing. And what I'll say as well, I want to also share my experience when I first started trading. Is like I paid my money so impulsively. I did the $2,000, and I was just literally keeping my sister company, and
tagging along.
literally, and I walked in and I was like, "Fuck this!" It wasn't that it was a bad treatment. The hairline that I first saw, I didn't like, and then I watched a trainee work, and I didn't like that either. And I was like, I'm gonna be doing this. I'm like, I went home. I'm like, hey, I don't know about this. And she's like, well, you've already paid the money. I'm like, yeah, I know. All right, well, let's do it. And we did it. And what I'll say is, what actually I can remember this moment so clearly. It was the first time that you were in the studio since I'd started training, and you were doing a treatment. And I walked over and I'm like, why does that look so different? I'm like, I want to do that. I was like that. I'm like that's, and then I think it was like 2 weeks later, and I was still a bit wishy-washy. Then I saw Shannon work, and I'm like, oh my god, there was this healed result that came in.
Yeah,
and
his work's beautiful.
Oh my god.
I remember the first time I watched Shannon working on latex, and I was like, yeah, he's definitely.
Yeah, you can tell. Hey,
I could tell. And I saw it straight away, and you know, just watching him progress into where he is now, it's amazing. Like, there's not really anyone else I've seen that can work like that.
No, he's crazy good. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, what do you feel like? Because you would have seen a lot of Chinese come through. Do you think you can sort of tell like which ones are?
I feel like I can pick the ones that have maybe got an exceptional, not a gift, but like they've got the ability. Like they've just inherently got something.
Yeah.
I can usually see that, and you don't see it very often. But then there are others that start the training and they're not great, but they're persistent. And I didn't see a lot of your first work, but someone like yourself, you just never let it go.
Yeah.
And you were so passionate, and everything you did was like, you wanted to do better, and ask so many questions. And I think anyone that's got that amount of passion and determination and drive to actually succeed can do it. Just some people might have it easier than others for whatever reason.
You remember Hayley's first treatment?
Yeah,
this is my sister. My sister's a tattoo artist.
She's incredible.
And she did that, and she just like her first session was just like amazing. And
I think she'd be good at anything she did.
She would, yeah. She's just so she's so, but then also as well, she's put a lot of effort into that. Like she's done 7 years of tattooing.
Yeah, she's got the hand skills.
Oh, like crazy.
She knows how to use a machine.
Yeah,
she knows about ink.
If you gave her like a tattoo machine for eyebrows, she'd do like the best set of eyebrows instantly.
Yeah.
It's just, but that's the other point too. Is like, it is repetition. Like it's repetition, but it's also repetition and willing to be wrong.
Yeah.
And that was hard for me too. Like, you would tell me stuff and I'm like...
I could see that. Everyone's got a level of ego somewhere.
She reckons she knows. But, and then I'd like write it down in my notes, pissed off.
Like, fuck you.
But and then I saw Shannon work and I was like, nah, I want to do that. And what I'd say is that it probably has only taken me until like 2 months ago until I like feel like I did a treatment that looks like that. Yeah.
There was that one you did, and I was messaging and I'm like, look at what Nathan did. Yeah. He deserves all the praise for this one. Like, it's really good. Yeah.
I've done 120 treatments. That's still the
awesome.
one that sticks out the most in my mind, where it's like I actually feel like, and that's probably a good lesson too. Is like, it was the same when I was a barber as well. Like, you don't enjoy the haircuts that you do for the first year. I never really enjoyed my fades or anything like that, but you press on, and then you work and you work and you work, and then you get a brief moments where it just feels like amazing. Yeah, something clicks in and then just you go back to work. It's like that, right? Yeah. And that's what I'd say is a lot of time, a lot of patience, and lots. I think that was like my 95th head, and now I'm starting to enjoy it. Crazy. I think you've enjoyed it for longer than I've enjoyed it, but like... But no, it's interesting that we picked it straight away and you knew it. Yes. Because there's so many... I was like waiting. I was like, come on, someone say it. Yeah, someone say something. Someone say something. Just refresh. And then Ghost posted it and I was like, yeah, confirmation. Don't talk to me. I'm famous. Done with you, peasants. I was like, I've fully made it. And you know what's crazy about that? It's like I'm on that Ghost protein now. I was like... Yeah, and congratulations. We're rivals now, but I hope we're never rivals. No, it's never like rivals, that. Never. I don't think our community is like that at all. And if it is, I'll have to punch you and vice versa. You can punch me. That's alright. But but we're always in. It's competition, definitely. Like I definitely want to be better at USMP. But I said this to you yesterday. I'm like, I'm never going to be better, but I'm always going to try, and that's what makes me better. But you might be. That's right, and that's it. No one knows. But this is the thing with competition: is people like, I want to be better than you, and like angry at you. It's like no, it's you inspire me to be better. If there was no Jana, there was no Shannon in Australia, then 99% of everybody here wouldn't have something to strive towards and wouldn't improve. Yeah. Not saying that everyone... There's other great artists. Look, there's something to be said for having someone to look up to. But also, I think what's equally as important, or probably more important, is that you have outdone yourself each and every time. Like, you compete with yourself and your skill set, because what you do is going to be different to what anyone else can 100%. Do. We've all got our own unique sort of footprint in here, so you just have to compete with you. That's right. And you know what's crazy, and what I'll say about that too for people listening is, like, if you're looking at another artist and you're thinking that they're taking food off of your plate, when me and Shannon were doing marketing out of this same location, we were getting two completely polar opposite clients. Shannon is never going to get an East Coast client, and I never get a Promicro client, because they're just so vastly different people, and they want what you guys offer, and my clients want what I offer. And it was so crazy to see. Like, my client would walk in Shannon, and you know the difference.
Crazy. It's like, you come here.
I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah.
But then this is the thing, right? You know, I had this one artist I was talking to in Melbourne. He's like, yeah, well, I'm not getting any work because of, you know, these other artists. I'm like, dude, Melbourne is gigantic. You know, if you guys aren't, there isn't, even if that's right, it's not, you're better off. You
just got to find your niche and find your
you're better off just working hard on yourself and keep going. Because you can either believe that it's everyone else's fault, or you can believe that it's your fault.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I do think there's enough heads out there for everyone. Some areas are more saturated than others, like obviously Gold Coast, we've got so many artists. But yeah, definitely, like I was saying to Shannon the other day, like, as proud as we are of our clinic and how much we love it, there's going to be someone who walks in and for whatever reason doesn't like something about it, and it could be something as simple as a pot plant or something they didn't like, and because it's such a sensitive decision, they might just go, nah, don't quite feel comfortable here, 100%. I'm going to go somewhere else, and maybe go somewhere like to you or somewhere else, you know, and that's their place, that's their home for having the treatment done. So you can't capture everybody. That's the thing. Like, and like you said, you can't be jealous of someone else getting all the clients, because they're probably not your clients.
And also as well, you know, I think part of that is be happy for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what is that hard? Like,
if the industry's doing well, great.
Yeah, that's right.
Someone's doing well, fantastic. There's hope for everyone.
What the next thing after that is happy for them. Ask them help. If they're doing fantastically and you're not, either you can believe it's the universe, or you can just be like, hey, what are you guys doing? Like, you know, like, look at Ink. She trains with heaps of other SMP artists. Heaps of people fly to her and you know, bend her ear and stuff. And what I'm so surprised, and actually surprised isn't the word, you know, because I just don't. I was surprised overall that every single artist was so helpful to one another at that masterclass. And I got to, and when I met Kate, she's like, oh, she already knew who I was. I was like, whoa, like, she's a big, cause like, really, she's super humble and such a nice person, but she's a big deal. She's got, in Australia, she's got the biggest franchise with the SMP, but she's such a nice person. Yeah,
she's absolutely lovely.
And there's no, like, little bit of malice with anything that she does.
And it's just, like I said, the whole premise of the whole thing was to have those connections, and it's just been great to get to know people and get to know them for ourselves, you know, not having to listen to someone else's opinion of anyone. And, you know, I've had opinions being given to me on a bunch of different people from from everywhere. Even, you know, even Tony, I had messages about him from someone else from overseas, and I've learned so much. It's been a big lesson for me, and I've reflected on a lot, is to never make assumptions on people based on what someone else has told you. So I think it's really important to not let that cloud your own judgment, and to make that decision for yourself and have that experience for yourself, because there might be something that's skewing that person's opinion way off.
Well, that person could be right for their perception, you know, for their
possibly
for their circumstance and what happened between them and another person. And there's nothing wrong with two people disliking each other. It's so crazy in this world. What we think we all need to get along, we definitely don't.
No, I think respect is a different thing.
If someone doesn't like me, I still want you to do well. I still want everyone to do well. I'm going to try my best for me to do well, but I still want everyone to do well. But going back to my treatment, going back to that treatment that really stuck out, and this has stuck out like the most standout treatment of my career. I was like on such a high from it, and I posted it, and I seen Ghost post it, and I'm like, yes, I'm making it on the team, and then nothing happened. And I was like, oh no, I'm a fraud. I'm like, and then but this is the thing when I talk about work, and like, that's what it is. Every single person, every time, is that you just keep on going back to work, keep trying harder and harder and harder. That's
keep going.
There's no like little magic. Like when we talk about your your treatments and stuff like that. The other side of that is how many treatments have you done? Like,
I've lost count now.
So
I
many,
did.
like,
I counted over 300 probably at the beginning of this year. So I
you can say
don't.
350, 360.
I'll be more than that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to.
So
I've lost count. I'm not very good with keeping records of that stuff, which I
I
should.
keep a record.
Yeah.
But if you were to think like 15 hours on a head, and so that's 15,000 hours times by 3. That's how long you've been doing it for.
Yeah.
And that's the kicker, is that there's no quick way to get to a point where Jana's at. If you want your work to look like Jana, try your best, learn from everybody, and do 3,000 hours of SMP.
I think that's the thing with SMP. You can't just do it straight away. And a lot of people get so frustrated, and people get really down on themselves very, very quickly.
Yeah. Close your eyes. Just close your eyes and wait 3 years and then open. I'm not even at 3 years.
Work your ass off.
Work your ass off. And this is an awesome thing that my little sister said to me. She's like, an apprenticeship is 4 years. You've just started this, you're an apprentice.
Yeah.
Like, you don't expect to get paid for the first 4 years. I'm like, I want to get paid. But that's a good mentality.
Yeah, no, that is a good mentality. I think there has to be like a remaining passion for it as well.
Yeah.
Like you, myself, and Shannon all have spoken about this a lot. Even when we're not working, we're still thinking about SMP. We're still living and breathing it. We don't just shelve it and go, oh yeah, like I've got to get back into that.
Yeah, can't wait to knock off on Friday.
Yeah, I've got all this other stuff going on. I'll think about that later.
Work on Tuesday.
It comes, I think, a certain amount of success comes with that intense passion for something and being really focused on it and always looking, what more can I know? Who else can I talk to? What more can I learn?
And you can wrap your whole life around it too. Like we've got so many good friendships around it. So I guess the whole kicker with all that is it's great, and if you enjoy it, then that's the 90% of the battle done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I reckon we wrap it up there.
Sounds good.
That was really good. Thank you so much, Jana. That was awesome. Thank you guys for watching, and see you later.